Namaste.
Namaste.
Oh,
Very nice to see you both.
Nice to see all of you.
can you hear us?
Yes.
Oh, good. Very good.
We just returned from a wonderful Indian banquet, the conclusion of our spiritual renewal week. And then afterwards, one of our members, Gyandev, told wonderful stories from India. We had Indian dancing and music and kirtan. It was just a wonderful evening. And now we get to see all of you. So it's just a perfect ending.
The ending of the Spiritual Renewal Week had a wonderful banquet with 3 or 4 different Indian sag paneer and some chana. Anyway, it was a wonderful banquet. So it felt like we were immersed in India for a few hours, and in a couple of weeks we'll be immersed for a few months.
There's a very wonderful Indian man who lives near Ananda. He's a devotee, but he and his wife work in town. And for the past 6 years, every year at the end of Spiritual Renewal Week, he and his wife prepare or help orchestrate this wonderful Indian banquet. There were probably between 300 and 400 people. And his wife told us that he doesn't have any recipes, or he doesn't measure anything, the spices and the rice and the water, and he makes this wonderful banquet for 300 to 400 people. And anyway, we enjoy it so much. So we felt like we were in India with all of you tonight, and soon we will be there.
Wow. Well, shall we begin with a prayer?
Yes.
Yes, if you have questions, please ask.
Prayer.
Oh, prayer.
Let's pray together. Heavenly Father,
Heavenly Father,
Divine Mother,
Divine Mother,
Friend, beloved God,
Friend, beloved God,
Great Masters,
Great Masters,
Jesus Christ,
Jesus Christ,
Babaji Krishna,
Babaji Krishna,
Lahirimashaya,
Paramhansa
Swami Sri Yukteswar,
Swami Kriyananda,
beloved Guru,
beloved Guru,
Paramhansa Yogananda Ji,
Paramhansa Yogananda Ji,
saints of all religions,
saints of all religions,
we humbly bow to you all.
we humbly bow to you all.
Bless our lives
Bless our lives
with thy light and joy,
with thy light and joy,
and help us be channels of light
and help us be channels of light
to all whom we meet.
to all whom we meet.
Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
And the choir has a song they'd like to sing for you.
Wonderful.
Walk like a man, even though you walk alone. Why go to Bluer once the road is known? Let come who will, but if they all turn home, the ghost still awaits you. Go on alone. Follow your dream, though it leads to worlds unknown. Life's but a shadow, once our dreams have flown. What if with pride your dream is not our own? Your soul knows the answer. Go on alone. Give life your heart. Bless everything that grows. Fear not the loving. All this world once the road is known. Let come who will, but if they all turn home, the goal still awaits you. Go on alone, go on alone, go on alone.
You probably know that song, Swamiji often said that was the theme song for Ananda. That once the soul call comes, we can't wait for others to join. But fortunately, thousands have joined us in that soul call. Was that Tulasi playing the guitar?
Yeah.
I didn't know you played.
Yeah.
That was nice to see you. Are there many Indians who play the guitar now? Is it popular?
Very much popular.
Yeah. For rock music.
So let's see what we can tell you. We've had the most wonderful week. We have in fact, all of the classes have been recorded. So if you have a chance, you can see them. But it was a week of such inspiration that everyone here felt it was the best week ever. So we enjoyed it. I enjoy the fact we saw that our image is being projected on a TV set. But from our viewpoint, what that means is you all have your eyes uplifted. So you all look like you're meditating. So tell us a little about the activities there.
Well, we had Diana visit recently, and it was really a special time because so many people were meeting her for the first time, but also so many were meeting her for the third time or fourth time because she's come so much. So it was really a nice to just spend some quality time being together. There was a dinner and kriya review and so on. So it was really quite a special time, and everyone has been so grateful and looking forward to their time with you, especially because tomorrow you're giving Sunday service and then you're getting on the airplane for Italy.
Yes, on Monday we will travel to San Francisco and we'll stay overnight there, and then on Tuesday we depart for Italy, and then on September 9th we come to India. So
Wow.
Only about 2.5 weeks now.
And I think you know that we're setting up a home for ourselves in Gurgaon. We're establishing an apartment in the ashram. So we'll have a home now in India. We won't just be visitors. We'll live there part of the year. And it makes us so happy too.
Yes.
And we'll set things up, just very simply, but just so that we have everything works. We have our desks for our computers, and we can work and do writing and correspondence, and just be able to feel like we can just settle in and make a home and do our work in India.
But it's a different feeling when you have your own apartment or your own home there. Then you don't feel like a visitor anymore. And so we'll be spending almost as much time in India as we will here in Ananda village. So maybe 4.5 months in this coming year.
But as we were saying, the week was so beautiful. The theme of it was, this is a week that we have every year at the end of August. Swamiji Kriyananda started it in 1969. We've had it every year ever since then. And we have, wonderful discourses every morning. And starting with, we have sadhana in the morning, and then discourses, and then in the evenings we have different activities. Tonight we had this beautiful Indian storytelling. One night we had a beautiful concert. Last night we had a play that from a story that Swamiji wrote called The Singer and the Nightingale. And one of our members, Devi, who had training in theater, she took Swamiji's short story and then made it into a play. And it was just absolutely delightful. It's like a fairy tale more than a normal drama, but it was just beautiful. And then, well, actually, that was Thursday night. Friday night, we had a kriya, 3 levels of kriya initiation. We had almost 100 people, 3 different locations, 100 people taking the first kriya, 93 people, 60 people taking the second kriya, and 93 people taking the third and fourth kriya. So almost 250 people taking kriya, the different levels in different places. And then today, Saturday, for us, is more of a celebration. We have the wonderful Indian banquet. Everyone got dressed up in beautiful Indian clothes and saris. And so it's just been such a wonderful week. And we were saying, when a week like this happens anywhere in the world, I think the blessings go out to Master's disciples everywhere.
We were also seeing all the photos on Facebook and feeling very...
Yes, all the beautiful photos.
Yeah.
You can tell them about the answer.
Oh, yes. We were able about 2 weeks ago to view the rough cut of the movie that will be about Swamiji's life, the movie called The Answer. Many of you by now will have seen the movie Finding Happiness, but now there's another movie coming out. It will probably be released around the beginning of next year, 2015, but it's a rough adaptation of the Swamiji's book, The New Path. And it tells about his growing up. It was shot partly in the United States, partly in Romania, and a little bit in India. But most of it, there we are, okay. And Swamiji's part is played by a young man who's Australian. It was just, yes, it was so beautiful to see the relationship of discipleship, and it came through very, very powerfully. It's going to be a great movie. It already is, but they have some more refining to do. They'll cut a little bit here and there to polish it, but it's going to be a wonderful movie.
And we wrote Victor Banerjee. We met him when he was here at Ananda Village filming, and he's a very nice man. Truly, he's a great actor, but he's a humble man and very spiritually minded. And he was somewhat intimidated to play Yogananda, but he said, "I will do my best." And we wrote him after we saw The Answer, and we said, "We think even you, with such a distinguished career, will be surprised at what you were able to accomplish in portraying Yogananda." And he wrote us back very sweetly, and he said, "I hope you all have so much devotion to Yogananda, and clearly this movie was made as an act of loving service to Swami Kriyananda, and I didn't want to let any of you down." But he said, this movie, it was unlike any part I have ever played. He said, an actor cannot get emotionally involved with the part, and when it's done, he doesn't remember it. He has to clear the slate. But he said, with this movie, it was different. It's remained with me, and I felt very personally involved with it, and I thank you for that gift. So he was very, I would say, transformed by playing Yogananda. And we are very eager for all of you to be able to see this movie. As we say, it will come out next spring, I believe. And it's really, I think Swami would be very, very pleased to see it.
Well, could we ask you a few questions?
You know, Dharmaraj, just to let you know, we can't see you.
Okay, how about now? Oh, you can't
No.
see us at all?
No,
No.
Okay, hold on a sec.
we can hear you, but we can't see you.
All right, how about now?
There, okay.
Oops,
Up.
sorry. How about again?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
We were wondering if we could ask you a few questions.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so who would
Let's
like-
go ahead because in case the connection fails, let's make hay while the sun shines.
Okay, who would like to go first?
Talking about the answer, we enjoyed the movie Finding Happiness also. It was a wonderful movie. We enjoyed the movie Finding Happiness. It was a wonderful movie, and some of us, we did not get to see Swamiji. So it was like when we saw him in the theater, it was like as if we were seeing him in person. It was a
Yes.
wonderful movie. Yeah. We enjoyed
We're finding that many people now are coming, not because they've read a book, not even because of connecting on the internet, but because they saw that movie and were so impressed by it that they just have to come and see if it's real. And of course they get here and they see that it's more than real.
Many of us saw it 3 or 4 times and we just want to see it again and again. It's so inspiring.
Yes.
People were not getting out of the theater at all. Even the food was over.
We sat through all the credits and we are hoping he would
And the theater,
re-show it again. The theater would
theater guy
run
has
it
to
again.
evacuate us.
So does anybody have a question, a spiritual question they would like to ask?
Some of us are going to take the pilgrim vows today and we would like your blessings for that.
Well, you certainly have our blessings for that. That is a very, very important step in the soul's development, to make the recognition that this life is meant as a spiritual journey, and that the essence of our life is not just to play in the world and enjoy the fruits of the world, but is to use every experience as a way of moving us closer to the realization of our divine nature. And to take a vow that that is the purpose of your life, that we're all pilgrims together, is a very important step. So you certainly have our blessings on that.
You know, this renunciate order, that the pilgrim vow is one of the stages. It's such a wonderful thing because there are people all over the world who participate in it. Some of them are disciples of Yogananda ji, and some of them aren't. There are some Buddhists who have taken the vows, Christians who have taken these vows, and it's such a unifying thing because we were just reading an article from our Guruji that it was the talk that he gave in 1950 at the Lake Shrine dedication at Los Angeles. The talk has been called The Scientific Art of Living. I don't know if that's what he called it or not, but that's what it's called as it's printed. And he talks about the need for, he talked about the need for a universal language, which he said would be English, would be best all over the world. But then he talked about the need for the unity of all religions, where people realize that whatever outward form they may be worshiping, that we're all united in our love for God, and in our soul's yearning to awaken from delusion. And I think in a way this Nayaswami order with the pilgrims and the brahmachari, Tyagi, Nayaswami, I think it's an expression of a universal religion where you don't have to change anything. You just have to develop your own love of God in your heart and your own dedication of your life to God. So we're very happy for all of you, and we're so happy that we have this opportunity to see you. I don't think we're not coming to Chennai, are we?
Not on this trip, but in the
springtime.
Springtime.
In March.
Yeah, but maybe you can come to Pune to see us, or maybe we just do another satsang with you.
Certainly when we're in India, we can do another video satsang like this.
Yes.
Happy to do that.
And does anyone else want to
And we will miss your smiling faces.
Some of us from Chennai are coming to Pune this September.
Very good.
They will.
Very good.
And where else will you see them?
We are also coming to the Babaji cave trip in November.
Oh, wonderful.
We have never been there.
No, we have a rather strange geographical relationship with India. Because whenever we were in India, we were with Swamiji, and he had gotten to the point where he didn't want to travel any more than he needed to in order to do his service. His body was, it wasn't easy for him to travel. So there are many, many places in India that we haven't been to. And Babaji's cave is one of those places. So we're eagerly looking forward to going there. Then we will also be doing the Kriya initiation in Calcutta at Master's home at 4 Garpar Road. So that will be very special also. But those two events should be a real highlight. But we'll be eagerly looking forward to those of you who are able to come with us on that.
It will be very poignant to go to 4 Garpar Road again, because the last time we went was the last few days we were with Swamiji. He was giving he gave a public discourse in Kolkata, and then we went with him. He just asked a few people to go, and we went to Master's home. And he was very fragile, but he was determined to go there. I think he knew he was saying goodbye. And so there's that beautiful photo that is often shown of Swami you can see the Master's attic room behind him. He couldn't walk up the steps, so we put him in a chair and we carried him up the steps. But anyway, it will be a great blessing to go there again. And also, we will share with you, we will figure out how to do this. We have a beautiful, we're building a beautiful moksha mandir to put Swamiji's body to where it will reside. We have a beautiful slideshow that we're bringing with us when we come, and maybe we can we'll do a video presentation with all of you and show you how it is coming along. Beautiful. It's just like coming out of the ground like a beautiful flower. It's so beautiful, and all the work that has been done. So we will share that with all of you for you to see this beautiful building, and we will dedicate it next May 2015.
And also on that weekend of the dedication, we're planning to have the premiere showing of this movie about Swamiji and Masters called The Answer. So we'll have a premiere American showing with that movie on that weekend. So it should be very, very special.
Also, in March, when you come here, it will be, one of the things that will be happening will be a Kriya initiation, and some of the people here are preparing for that Kriya initiation, and many have already taken Kriya and will be attending as a renewal with you.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Master and these masters, Babaji, in this age, they incarnated in part in order to reinvigorate the ancient science of Kriya Yoga. And we just had a lovely initiation last night. During those initiations, their presence is very powerful.
Very strong.
Very strong.
And one of the women who helps organize the Kriyas, at the end of the Kriya, for those of you who have taken it, I'm not giving away a secret, there's a showering of rose petals. And so I just found this out this morning. I didn't tell Jyotish yet. So at the end, the people collected all those rose petals, and the people that had Kriya for the first time, they went to their houses and put those rose petals on their doorstep. So when they opened their door in the morning, there was those blessings too.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So just the blessings of the masters are, as Jyotishji was saying, Babaji, Yoganandaji, Lahiri Mahashaya, all of them, they're so strong at those initiations. And it's like a window opens into the heavens. And, we just got a letter a few days ago from a very wonderful devotee who's part of the Delhi community. Her name is Anjali. And she took a pilgrimage to Kailash. And she sent us pictures, and she said she went into the lake Kailash, very cold. She dipped in. One time it was for her own self. Another time she took a dip in that very icy lake for all of Master's disciples. And she said, I was hoping that we would all be blessed by my pilgrimage. So that was she sent us beautiful pictures showing. Very, very sweet.
I would like to know how to deal with distractions during the meditation, because there is a lot of stillness and peace while I am on commute or while I am at work, or times in which I can't actually meditate. But when I sit down to meditate, there are some distracting thoughts coming and I have to bring back the mind always. So how to deal with them when we are meditating?
That's one of the very common issues for all people who try to meditate. And it's addressed in the Gita, and Master addressed it often. But the mind is pulled out by the power of the Rajaguna. And so it wants to pull the mind into activity. And in Gita, Arjuna asks Krishna, what is it that pulls the mind even when we're not wanting the mind to be pulled? And Krishna answers, desire it is, anger it is, the Rajaguna it is that pulls the mind in that way. In another place, Arjuna says to Krishna, the mind is harder to control than the wind. How can I possibly control it? And Master interpreted that, saying that the mind is harder to control than air, and air is pranayama. And so that's why we have the techniques of pranayama. And so the technique of Hong Sa, for instance, that deep bija mantra, Hong Sa, if you keep coming back and bringing your mind back, gradually it helps train the mind to concentrate more. You just have to work at it. Ananda Ma said something put it in a very nice way. She said, when our children are growing up and they say, oh, I don't want to go to school, I just want to stay and play. We say, no, you have to go to school. And we take them and put them in class. And she said, we must do the same with our mind. Our mind says, I want to wander. And she says, no, we have to take it and put it in school. Whether that's a mantra or doing japa or worship, whatever it is. So the primary thing is always, as the mind wanders, and it will wander, everyone deals with this. When the mind wanders, bring it back to the object of meditation. One more thing that helps is that when you go into your meditation room, especially in the morning, when you're thinking about the day, the projects ahead of you, put everything on the shelf and say, I know that I have to pay attention to you, but for this period of time when I'm in my meditation, I'm just going to give this time to God. And I'll come and attend to you. I understand I have responsibilities, but my first responsibility is to God.
And one more thing that I will share too, the practice of Kriya Yoga is, once you have that, you will find that it is easier to concentrate. Not easy, but it gives you, as they say, a foot up. Because what Kriya does is it withdraws the prana that usually goes out through all the chakras and out into the world. It magnetically draws that prana up. So it's not like you have to use willpower so much and, no, I will not let my mind wander. But there's a natural flow, a natural magnetic flow of energy that helps us to, it's like a vacuum cleaner drawing up all the little dust on the carpet, all the little wandering thoughts, and bringing them all up into this great suction, really, of energy. And then it helps you to hold your energy and your thoughts at the kutastha. And so Kriya is a tremendous help in going deeper into meditation. But I think it's, one of the things that I so appreciate about Swamiji's autobiography, The New Path, is he talks about all the struggles that he had, trying to learn how to meditate, trying to concentrate, overcoming doubts and lethargy, and all of the different things that every human being goes through. And he gives us very practical methods for overcoming the obstacles in meditation. So keep trying, have good satsang, and have your devotion to Master. That's really the most important thing. Master does it all. How could we even try to meditate without his grace? So just say, Master, I am just your humble disciple. Help me to give my heart wholeheartedly to you, because this is what I desire.
On that theme, we had another question, which was, could you speak about the importance of joy and devotion on the spiritual path?
Wonderful question. So
Joy, Joy and devotion are both absolutely central. The definition that Master gave for meditation was deep concentration on God or on one of the aspects of God. And joy is the most central aspect of God, Sat Chit Ananda. And so we are made of joy, and we're made of joy. Even this world that is manifested is also made of love. And so devotion is to take that natural, already existing quality of love that resides within us and offer it back up to God. And so devotion and joy, I would say, are the two most important of all of the qualities. Master said that of the 8 qualities, he in particular manifested 3 of them in this life. One was joy, one was love, and the last was wisdom. And certainly Swamiji also manifested those 3. So not only do joy and wisdom reside within you, but on this path we could almost say that joy and devotion, not only do they already reside within you, but we could say that they're strong components of our spiritual DNA. And so in each meditation, we should try to feel love and devotion for the Guru, and toward the end of meditation especially, we should try to feel that we're floating in joy, floating in bliss, and that bliss is expanding. And then at the end of meditation, we should try to carry that with us. One of Master's most advanced disciples said, I create a bubble of joy around me, and I don't let anyone or anything break through that bubble of joy.
Another thought from Master, this is from Swamiji's wonderful book, Conversations with Yogananda. And Master said, I suffer when you have moods, when you are not happy, because then Satan or Maya delusion can get at you. And so it's very important for us as devotees to try to keep our minds positive, uplifted, joyful, not get pulled into dark moods or depressions or too much worry. Of course, everyone has problems in their life, but we need to always train ourselves to say, God, you help me with all of these situations. And when we are joyful, when we are living in a state of deep joy and devotion and faith in God, then God can help us. He can be present with us much more. But when we close ourselves off with dark moods, then God can't come to us. So it's very important on the spiritual path to keep our consciousness, as Master said, even-minded and cheerful.
God, in a certain sense, is like the sun shining, and dark moods or downward pulling energy are clouds that obscure the sun. The sun is still there, it's just as bright as ever, it's still shining, but those moods obscure it. And joy is like the wind that blows those clouds away so that the sky becomes clear and that sun can shine down strongly and nourish us. So it's very important to emphasize a lot of it is just the mind. If the mind gets into a habit of saying, oh, I'm unhappy, oh, I'm so depressed, I have so many troubles, I have so many problems, I can't do this, we convince ourselves of the negative aspect of that downward pulling energy. But this whole week we have been talking on the theme of happiness. And one of the things that Master suggested is just to say constantly, I am happy. I am happy in this moment, in these circumstances. And the same could be said for joy. I am joyful right now. I don't have to wait for joy to come to me. It's already within. And keep convincing the mind. And after a while, that habit of downward pulling energy will be replaced by the habit of upward moving energy. Master even said that if you don't feel happy, take your fingers and push your sides of your mouth up so you have to smile.
But you all have beautiful smiles.
Yeah, you don't need to do that.
Any other questions? How do we practice the presence of God when we are into our daily lives?
Well, in our line of gurus, Lahiri Mahashaya, he came into the world, he was an avatar, but he came specifically with the mission to show all of us who have still responsibilities in the world, how one's life can be absolutely centered in God. So if you start each day with meditation and you make the inward contact with God and Guruji, and then you take that with you all throughout everything you do. Through one of the men who gave a class this week, he's the man, his name is Narayan. He's in charge of our center in Los Angeles. But he started out working on Wall Street in the stock market. He worked on the trading floor. You know, you see the pictures of the men yelling and shouting. But he found he's a deep devotee, and he was in a bookstore and he was praying with all his heart, God, give me a book that shows me a true way to live. And then he found Autobiography. And then he said, then I went and I read it and I started taking the training of meditation. But then I still had my job on Wall Street and I tried to talk with everyone else about it. No one was interested. And eventually he had to leave that job and come to Ananda. But you know, at this time, Nayaswami Dhyanaji, who you all know and have met, she was living at Ananda Village, and she was doing in charge of our Kriya ministry. And so Narayan would call her from New York. He had received Kriya. He said, I'm going to go into a back alley, and I have my cell phone. I'm going to do my Kriyas, and I want you to listen to my Kriyas over the cell phone to see if I'm doing them correctly. And so she would check his Kriyas in a little alley in New York. But there's no place where God is not. We have to bring him there. If we think, oh, he's not at the office, he's not with my in-laws, he's not with my family, they're not devotees, then he's not there. But if we think he is everywhere, I bring him to these places, then life becomes so beautiful, because there's no place where no matter where we look, we only can see God's presence. And if it's in the grumpy colleague at work or the angry mother-in-law or whatever it might be, it doesn't matter. If we have God centered in our life and don't get caught into believing that the world has its own reality, it's not real. It's all God's drama, all his dream, to try to see what we love more, his world or he who created it. So don't get confused. Give your love to he who created this dream, and then all of the dream becomes filled with his joy.
I will give two practical methods. One is to take one chant and repeat that chant over and over again until it goes into your subconscious mind. And you can tell that by waking up in the middle of the night, and the chant will be going on in your mind. And so if you do lots of different chants, it doesn't have the same power. Take one at a time and just repeat it over and over and over again. You can do this at work if you're not having to deeply concentrate. So that's one thing. And the second, I'm going to suggest something that puts a little bit of a burden on Dharmarajan and Dharmini. I'm going to suggest that they, even today, that Dharmini, who's a computer whiz, prints up for each of you the poem God, God, God. And that you take that home and that you memorize it. And when you have it memorized, bring it back, and they'll sign their signatures on it after you've proven to them that you have that poem memorized. Because
and you'll get a good grade.
Yes, you'll get a good grade. But if you repeat that poem over and over, it has the power of master to show how you can find God in all circumstances of life. I've practiced this for many years now. But they still have not signed my
Any last questions?
I have one.
Yes.
How do we deal with physical weakness? Because I find that it puts a spoke in the practice of meditation and other spiritual practices. When you are sick or when you fall ill, you find it even more difficult to do the practices. So do you have any suggestions for that?
Dharmarajan, can you say it again? The sound was a little hard.
She was saying when we're dealing with physical illness and weakness, then it's hard to meditate and keep our mind uplifted. And do you have any suggestions?
Very good.
Well, it is harder. You know, the energy and the prana in the body expresses itself, and when it's kind of taken up with illness, it's harder to keep the mind uplifted. Don't worry so much about practices. Do some things like always keep spiritual music, Swami's music, playing in your home, or playing so that you've surrounded yourself with a spiritual vibration. And just try to, as often as you can, offer your heart to God. Don't worry too much about long meditation or depths of meditation during the times of illness, because sometimes we aren't able to do that and we can get discouraged. But God reads the heart. The most important thing is that we keep giving our heart to Him. And then as you're able to, don't fall into a bad habit of not meditating. As you're able to, meditate. Deeper is more important than longer. So if your body is not allowing you to spend a long time meditating, make a special effort to try to meditate as deeply as possible. And I think these things can help during illness.
During one of the classes this week, one of our acharyas, Nayaswamis Ananda, told a beautiful story, a true story, that she was saying you can't always tell if you're growing spiritually. You may think, oh, I can't meditate, I'm not well. But she told this true story of a man who was living at Ananda village, and he had serving in the ashram. He had a job he liked very much. He was doing very well. His life was he was very happy, and his meditations were just wonderful. And he thought, I'm really making progress. And then shortly after he had this thought, Swamiji called him over and said, I want to give you a totally different job now. And he gave this man a job that was very, very difficult, that he didn't know how to do, that he felt like he was failing, and he was so worried about it all the time he couldn't meditate. He thought he lost that depth of meditation. And after several years, Swami saw him and said, look how well you're doing now. And he still was not able to meditate. He still was overwhelmed by his job. He said before, when everything was going well, you were on a plateau. He said now you are, because things aren't going so well, you're calling to God so much, and you're turning your life to God. So he said now you're doing very well. So we can't always tell. Maybe an illness that prevents us from meditating it's a karmic purification for sure. And we're able, through that process, you're able to release past bad karma that keeps you from getting closer to God. So do your best, but always the most important thing is attunement with God and Guru. Surrender your life to them and just say, Lord, I am with you in sickness and health, in the good times and the bad times. I am not one of those fair weather friends, as they say. I am with you through it all. And if we can hold that attitude no matter what comes, then God is very pleased and our lives are blessed.
Thank you.
Tulasi?
First of all, I would like to thank you for the beautiful newsletters, Touch of Light.
Oh, thank you.
It's been amazing.
So nice to see you.
Yes.
So I have a
Yes,
question.
we enjoy writing those touches of light, and people all over the world write us and say how much they enjoy reading them, so it's very nice. Well, perhaps we'll say goodbye. It's getting late our time, and we have to prepare for our Sunday service tomorrow for us, satsang. And so it's been very, very nice. And now that we know how to do this, let's do it more often.
Say tonight, one of the skits, some of you may know Shumakshi. Her father is Daljit Singh. They're part of the Gurgaon ashram community. She's visiting us here now. And so Shumakshi portrayed the role of the goddess Lakshmi. And she was so beautiful. She had a gold crown and beautiful red sari, and it was a story about Vishnu and Lakshmi.
But at a time where Lakshmi got angry with Vishnu.
And left, yeah. But it was so wonderful hearing all these stories, and we want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to be with you all tonight, because it's like we were in India in the stories, and now with you we are even more in India. So our hearts are always with the devotees there, and we look forward to seeing you all. If not this trip, then certainly in February we'll have more time. So God bless you all, and may Master's inner guidance lead you ever, ever closer to His bliss and His freedom, His moksha.
Bless you. Namaste.